Good evening and welcome to the May 26th, 2026 Plainfield Select Board meeting. We have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Are there any announcements? No announcements? Is there any public comment? We have a hand up. Who is that?
Betsy.
Betsy?
Hello, hi. I am
Hi.
just, hi. I just wanted to give an update on town beautification. And I just want to say thank you so much to Peter Young, who has recently had Bella Vance clean up the leftovers from the flood that were around the Heartbreak Hotel and also on the opposite side on our little park and on the other property, sorry. It's amazing. It's been an amazing change to have that all cleaned up by Bella Vance. Thank you, Peter. And I want to also thank Lauren Geiger, who has just put up some flower boxes. And I also want to thank the seed ball distributors. I haven't seen any flowers yet, but I'm hopeful. And Laura Ziegler and the PAC group, myself and others who are maintaining the church garden. So we have some things happening that really I hope will make a difference in how the village looks this summer. And just encouraging others to go ahead and put in flowers. I did clean up the old fire hall section on School Street, that property. It was covered with a bag of trash after Green Up Day, and there's still a large antenna down there. And I'm trying to cut down on the tree down that was growing in the Opera House garden that's across the street from the Opera House. And I don't know, maybe was a garden that was put in after the building had been removed, a small garden. Anyway, it needs maintenance. There are tires over the hillside there. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but the hillside, right behind the parking lot, next to the whatever, that little garage or out, little building we have. And then there's tires left at the rec field. So I do hope there's some plan.
You say cars?
Tires.
Tires.
Car tires.
Thank you.
In those areas. We don't want those to go down the river. Anyway, thank you everybody for doing what you've done, and thank you to Laura Ziegler, who's maintained the garden around the town office too. So those things need support. I guess I have a hope that we're going to have some crosswalks in the village. I don't know if that's on the list, but they really need to be painted back on as soon as possible.
You're talking about that. Thanks, Betsy.
Okay, thank you, Betsy. Very nice. Thanks to the folks who doing a lot of work around town. And I was down at the rec field meeting with the rec committee the other day and came out and could see that work that had been cleaned up there with that debris pile and the neighboring park and stuff. And yeah, the visuals make a huge difference after a couple of years. So thanks, everybody. Yes, go ahead.
This Saturday, the 30th, is the cleanup at the church, the Grace United Methodist Church on the corner. This is kind of an all-day affair. It's their tag sale. So help is desired at kind of any stage, starting at 6 in the morning for setup. No need to come that early if you don't want to, because it goes till 4 p.m. So come anytime. They are receiving sign-ups, statements of intention, if you want to help the organizers clarify needs or try to make sure that all the shifts are covered. But this is toward helping the church become ever more usable by the town. The church has been so gracious. Community dinner is held at the church every Friday at 6. And so this involves potentially making possible the use of not just the dining room, but the next room over. And also this is a kitchen cleanup as well. There'll be food, there'll be fun, there'll be people. This Saturday, all day, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Where can people sign up?
Where can people sign up? You can check Front Porch Forum for the link to the sign up. Oh, because it was short link. I'm not gonna get it.
Okay. Michael, public comment.
Michael Lindsay. I just wanted to add 2 things, endorsing what Betsy said. Peter Young did not just arrange for the cleanup of the Washburn Park and behind the Hartford, but he offered it as a gift to the town. So it felt important to me to make that distinction, that he covered everything.
He paid for it.
He covered everything that was involved with the cost there. And with respect to the church cleanup, which I'm very glad to hear about, a lot of the stuff that is there actually brought to the church at the 2024 flood. It was donations of clothing and all kinds of goods that were brought there by everyone in the community in a spirit of generosity. And so what's there actually goes back to 2024. It had to do with that event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some of it's been.
Okay, anything else? If not, our next item is the road commissioner's report. And I see, Carl, you're here.
I'm here.
Take the mic,
Mike.
Mark.
You can use the handheld if you want.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, I have to give you some pictures. Peter and I met Sunday to try to get some answers on some of the questions regarding the bond bank and the budget for the highway department. I'm going to give you the bond bank.
Okay.
You would ask for some things in there.
Yep.
For example, how many feet, linear feet of new paving is going to be for the paving bond. So we worked that out. So you should have what you need there. And then Michael Bingham had done quite a long, extensive review of the issues on the budget that was presented to him with errors, for example, showing sold trucks, things like that. So he was able to correct that. He sent that out to you, Peter, I believe, with his comments.
Yes, I saw that, and I think he also sent it to Cynthia.
Yes, he did. I asked him
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
And I sent to you a review of the auditor's items. There was a number of those items were really should be in the highway budget. And we've identified those. I sent you an email.
Oh, where it says auditor at the end of the budget sheet that
Yes,
Cynthia
yes.
sent us, yes.
Yeah. So there's a number of things that are showing up there because nobody knew where they went, but they should go to the highway department. And just other than that, we're planning to grade Middle Road next week, or this week. We put in one culvert on Main Street, replaced one, and we're trying to get the second one, which is near the intersection of Maple Hill and East Hill Road, before the paving. But it sounds like paving may be a little ways off, even if we get the documents in. Michael is going to take 2 weeks off, starting the 6th of June. I'll be working with John and Lance if they need help with things. But they certainly can grade and hopefully put in the radar that we got, the radar signs. I can help them with that. But not much else to report, I guess. That's it.
We have a comment from Cynthia, and then I have a question for you after that, Carl.
I just wanted to just make a quick comment about the budget stuff that you were talking about that was noted where there were mistakes that were made. Those have all, I would say probably 90% of them have all been adjusted based on the research that Michael did. I have to give him going through that the way he did line by line and then creating a PDF for me to make comments on was one of the best things I've seen in a while. So kudos to him on that. But it was exactly what I needed, and I was able to move some things around. We talked about some other sections of the budget, which you're talking about, where you're seeing the audit at the end.
Yes.
That section of the budget are leftover old chart of account numbers that existed prior to us doing this change. So that audit isn't necessarily in the highway budget. We just need to move some of those highway numbers over to the highway budget.
Right, and I think I've identified those.
We're pretty much done with everything that he came up with. So I think we're good on that front, and then I'll send him another report.
Great, well, thanks for the comments.
Yeah, I'm noticing that we have all the key players here would seem to talk about the handicap parking space downstairs here at the Opera House. This is a unique open meeting moment to try to solve this problem because it's persistent.
Yeah, I've been in touch with Michael and Elise about that. Where the plan now is going to be to rototill out 2 more feet of the parking spot. And I've got a rototiller I can borrow, and I'll do that. We need to put gravel, we need to compress it, put gravel down, and then the paver will come back and pave it. So that's where we're at. I thought we were going to be able to take off or skim off the stone wall that's there, which still needs to be done, but that can't be used as any kind of access for a wheelchair. It's too bumpy. So we have to go back to the first plan. But that's where we're at. We hope to get it done by the 12th, of July, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a meeting that may have folks who need that assistance here, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
And I want to publicly thank Carl for arranging this.
And I want to thank Francis Rose for helping me put in what I call my kid catcher on the bridge, which is a fence that also goes underneath. So if something falls off the road, it'll be caught, and I think it'll be fine. It's only for a couple of years, so anyway, it's patent pending. But.
It's marvelous design, Carl. Thank you.
Yeah, so Carl, I wanted to follow up on the bond bank application.
Yeah.
I did have a conversation with Ken Lingy at the bond bank this morning, and we also have the water line loan, but which will ultimately go through the bond bank. It goes to the state for review there first for their revolving loan fund, but then comes back to the bond bank to manage. But for the paving loan, we are required by their bond bank regulations to have a professional audit completed for either 2025 or 2024, and we have neither of those. I did talk with, or send an email off to Bonnie Batchelder this morning to find out where Sullivan and Powers was with the 2025, but I don't think we're going to have that by the bond bank's June 17th date where they have to send it out to their board. So that means that we will miss the summer pool. And the workaround for that, according to Ken, is to take a loan out with our local bank, our depository, which I think is Northfield Savings, correct, right? And then that would be a bond anticipation note, a BAN, they call it. The interest rate is, I think, a little bit higher, but we could convert that then to the bond bank loan once we have the audit done, and we would enter their winter pool. So there might be a few bucks extra in interest between now and then, but that would allow us to get the funds to do the paving this summer.
That'd be great. And as we know, the bid came in quite a bit less than our bond that was approved by the voters.
Right.
if it's a little extra.
Yeah, we approved 250,000 and the bid came in, the one we picked was 197, so,
Right.
you know, quite a bit lower. So he had encouraged us to continue to transmit this as much as possible, but understanding that there are some things that they asked for that just don't exist. And so we said, you know, so what are our options here? So there's a little bit more flexibility on the other one. They don't require an audit for the other one, but it takes the state longer because their money comes from the EPA, and so they have to go through a whole bunch of environmental stuff before they give it back to the bond bank. So, but we're going to try and get that one done by the end of next week as well. So,
Well, if you need any more info, just,
yeah, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, thank you, Road Commissioner. All right, the next couple of items are going to involve Cynthia Stoddard, who was joining us by Zoom, and she is our consultant from the Northeast Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, and she has been working with us since January steadfastly on a lot of stuff dealing with our bookkeeping system, our budgets, our policies and procedures, et cetera. And we have about 40 minutes set aside for the next session here dealing with standard operating procedures, our accounts payable. You sent us some documents, the budget summary. You heard that we've already taken some of that, and we did a big chunk on transportation. I know Andy has, he and I met and working with emergency management. I met with Carl and call into Dan Fingus about the Town Hall Opera House. I met with the Rec Committee, but there are other segments of the budget where we need to do more. The town office has a copy of the 79-page detail, so hopefully that'll get worked on as well. So, but a huge step in the right direction. So, so Cynthia, we'll turn it over to you, and I'm sure lots of people will have questions and comments as we go through.
So do you want me to start with like my workflow, the action plan that we had first, and then go into the different operating procedures, or what do you want the flow to be?
Yeah, I think the workflow would be great because I think it'll give everybody a picture of like the whole workload, and particularly when you get to the end, the prioritization and why that's important. What has been done, what still needs to be done, et cetera.
So I'm going to make a small confession because I'm a town municipal government nerd. I watch board meetings. And so I did watch your last board meeting. And what I just want to say as an outsider looking in on this process you guys are going through, and the growing pains and the shift in personnel and from elected to appointed, like you have and then you have floods, and then, I mean, you guys, if there was a checklist of everything that you needed to go through, you're going through it. So let's just give everybody, the town office employees, the select board, the kudos for like working their way through this process. So what I'm hearing is, I think, the same exact question just being asked different ways. Like, where are the tasks being divided? Who does what? And it's a question I've been asking since I started. It's a question the staff asks. It's the question that the board is asking, and it's a question that the townspeople are asking. And just so that the public knows, it's a question that I am asking, and we are working through task by task by task and trying to figure out who should do it, what is the best process, come up with an operating procedure for that process, and then naming who the person is, or not the person, but the job, whoever is assigned to that job, right? So if you look at the workflow that I gave you guys, these are just snippets of things that I know need to be done. These are by no means the entire list of all the different tasks. And if anybody wants to see the list that I came up with, I think I shared a spreadsheet with you guys, which was a generic, this is what all town offices have to do. And so we're kind of working our way through that. But while we're working our way through that, there was a lot of work to catch up. And I think the last time I was here, I kind of gave an overview. So I just want to kind of go through those things, see if anybody has any questions. Bank reconciliations, they hadn't been done for the entire year except for water and sewer. Carol had been keeping up on those. They were a little bit behind, but not much. It was just a couple months. So her and I worked through those together. The general fund bank reconciliation has been done, but we still have a discrepancy that I need to figure out. I'm hoping maybe the work that Bonnie's doing might answer my discrepancy, because remember, she's working on last year while I'm working on the current year. So she may be finding something in last year that will affect the beginning balance going forward for me. So I'm kind of waiting for some of that to be done. And during that work, I discovered that there was a large transfer that was made in November. I think it was $269,000. Took a lot of time in researching it, understanding your bank statements, and what that was transfers to some reserve funds for appropriations that you guys vote on in your annual budgets. You guys are going to have to give me an example. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but what I found out during those transfers was that it wasn't just FY26, which is the year that I'm working in, it was also FY25. So the FY25 transfers hadn't been recorded. Bonnie will be working on those. I've recorded the FY26 ones, but the physical money has been moved to those reserves. So there's still a little bit of work to be done. There were some of the money was converted to CDs that I need to get those statements, but I feel much better about where we are as far as me at least understanding what you have for bank statement or bank accounts, who's looking at them, and what more we need to do. And there's still some more work to be done. Does anybody have any questions about those? No? Okay. The trial balance. So a trial balance really shows you an entire snapshot of your financial position. So it gives you your balance sheet accounts, which would include your bank accounts, any asset accounts, any liabilities. Those are payments that are going to be going out. It shows your revenues and your expenses. So the FY25 is not finalized yet. That's why you haven't been able to get an audit. So some of the things that I'm doing are difficult to complete because that's not done. Like I said, it's like having a checkbook that at the end of the year, you have $100,000 in it. And then I think you have $100,000, but someone looks through it and finds that you missed something and you really only have 50. It carries forward to the next year. That mistake carries forward. I'm not saying that's a mistake we're going to find. I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that I'm kind of waiting for to make sure there's not that kind of mistake. I understand that Bonnie's really close to being done with her work, which she'll then pass on to the CPA firm to do the FY25 audit. I have, with the help of one of the people that works for me, one of the biggest jobs we've had to do is convert your current chart of accounts in your general ledger, which is where it shows your revenues and expenses. We've had to convert those numbers to new numbers that match the budget that you guys have presented to the town at town meeting so that the two look like each other. The bottom line numbers are no different. Like the budget that you voted on isn't different. It's just how it's organized and the look of it. Okay. That was a massive undertaking to try to understand which account numbers went with the way the budget was created, because the budget was created in a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, but it was never converted to your financial system. So coding issues that came up, as an example, there was a lot of different, I think I did 25 journal entries today in the highway budget of just things that were just not in the right expense account. Part of that was because of the chart of accounts wasn't matching what maybe Michael had because he was using the spreadsheet one. The emergency management section I went through with, is it Michael Billingsley? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sent me an email today. I went through some of his today. And at the time that we had the chart of accounts to choose from when people were coding the bills, there were two line items. the budget in the town report has like 8. So no matter what it was being posted to this one line item, and I had to reclass it. So the phone was being posted to emergency management coordinator line. So it's all those little, like, we got to move things around to make it match where the budget is. That work has been done, and everybody has been super helpful with going through those kind of, like I said, if there was an award given out for the PDF and the highlights and the notes that your road foreman did for me today to do that, he's going to get the award because I was super impressed with that. That was so helpful. I might make a little certificate or something because I
Totally do that.
Okay, so that's the chart of accounts, and I think probably in your packet, and I think you've distributed it so the public can see it, both this work plan that I've had and the updated budget status report for the general fund. I believe those are out there. If anybody has any questions, if the public has questions, please go to someone on the board. Don't come directly to me. Go through the chat.
Cynthia, I would just mention that those are posted on the Selectboard website in the public documents section, so.
Yep. And remember, I have no like personal stake in somebody finding a mistake that something's in a wrong line item, and nobody should. Nobody should be concerned. We don't need to be concerned with who made this mistake, why the mistake was made. We need to get it right, and we need to come up with a procedure so it doesn't happen again. That's our goal. It's not to figure out who did things wrong. It's not to point fingers. It's like, let's just get it right so that you guys and the public can understand what they're looking at. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have not done anything with water and sewer, and I haven't spent a lot of time on the reserve funds because I feel like I need to get general fund done first, and then I need to make sure general fund is right. That way I know if anything's misclassified, then I can put it in the correct fund. The other big item was the W-2s and 941s for 2023 and 2024. We have completed the upload to the Social Security Administration for both of those years. They were missing. I'm hoping that employees now have a record of their wages with the Social Security Administration because those have been uploaded. Peter sent an email to the IRS about the 2023, I think, and 2024, just explaining the situation here. That's been done. We got a certificate, didn't you?
Certified letter, not an email.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Certified, and then you got the receipt back that they received it, right?
Right.
Since then, we have gotten information from the 2024 W-2s that says we were going to get a refund. And today, Carol called me and you guys got a $13,000 refund check for 2024.
Hooray.
So I think what happened was once I uploaded those 2024 W-2s, they were able to match up the quarterly reports with what was reported, and it was overpaid. I'm not going to research to see whether they're right, but I'm just going to let it be what it is.
It's better than a penalty from
All
them.
good news. All good news. We'll take it.
They did send another small $1.70 check. I don't know what that's for, but we'll deposit that one too. But that's good news. That was weighing on me heavily, mostly because people didn't have wages in there. It looked like they hadn't earned any wages, and it's just a hefty penalty if it doesn't get done. But I think we're going to be okay in that area. And 2026 is on track. We're not having that type of issue now. So,
Cynthia, just on that point, so are we completely current to date in our quarterly 941s and the annual tax returns? We're current at this point.
Yep.
Super.
Yep. The other ones that we had to do, I had to straighten out all of the Vermont income tax withholding reporting. The state was really helpful. They helped me move things around and made sure that was done. That's all up to date and been paid. The quarterly unemployments hadn't been done. Some of them went back to 2023. We got all those filed. The Department of Labor was really helpful with that. And VEMR's, the retirement is always done. They're always on top of it. So if you don't get it done, they haunt you down. So, but no, payroll is completely up to date. And then the first bi-weekly payroll, because we're changing the cycle from weekly to bi-weekly, will be June 12th. So that's moving along.
Cynthia, I have a question. This is Francis Rose.
Yep.
So I'm hearing that we're caught up, now current, with the IRS. Are we still at the discretion of the IRS about whether or not we're penalized for
Yes.
past, like, non-submission or late submissions? So
Yes,
we might hear from them yet.
You might hear from them again. I'm hoping that Peter's letter for the 2023 letter that we received talking about a potential penalty has been addressed. I don't think the IRS is advanced enough to know that we might have a penalty and they send us, I mean, you would think if we were going to have a penalty, they wouldn't send us a refund. But I don't think I don't think you can take the refund as oh, we're good, right? Because that was on one.
You don't think the refund is a net, then, right?
No. If I do know one thing about them is they work in quarters and years. So the 2024 is the year they refunded for. 2023 is what you got that potential penalty letter for, which Peter addressed in an email that hopefully they'll have a little bit of heart. I don't know. Okay. So at the last meeting that I was at, George came, the delinquent tax collector, and he had quite a few questions about delinquent taxes, and he was absolutely right. What we had in the system was different than what he had, and we found some mistakes. Him and I met. We have updated, everything matches. We have a schedule of when we're going to be calculating interest, and in June, he will be coming, well, him and I will work together. He is going to use the NIMRIC system to post payments instead of turning the money in and having someone at the office do it. So that task for delinquent tax collections will be taken out of the office hands. And the only piece they'll have to do is verify that the amount of money he's giving them matches what he entered into the system. So that was, him and I work together. I don't think he's going to have any problem maneuvering the system. He seems like he said he was actually kind of excited to do it. So we'll work with him on that. The education tax. So we collect money on behalf of the education taxes. We pay the school. And then at the end of the year, April for the end of the year for the education department, they do a true up of what you originally paid versus what you have to pay. And they ended up we ended up overpaying. So they sent us a check today for $26,000.
Yay, more money.
That came in today too.
This is like refund week.
Yeah, it's a good week so far. It's only Tuesday.
Cynthia, a question about the education taxes, and I'm looking at the budget summary and the budget detail you gave us. When we put next year's budget together for fiscal 28, I guess it'll be, should we show the receipts, the revenues and expense for the education tax in our budget?
No.
No.
So what I am going to be recommending, and I think, Karen, this goes to a question you might have had about why is the revenue in the budget status report in taxes so much more than what it should be? And then what is this expense? So what has happened in Plainfield in the past is all of the money you collect goes into your revenue account for the general fund, right? Then whenever the check gets cut to the school, it hits an expense account. So you're seeing this huge number in your revenue and this huge unbudgeted number in your expenses. That's how it's been done. My recommendation is going to be that at the beginning of the year, we set up a liability for this is how much you're going to owe the school. And as you pay it down, so that keeps your revenue in your general fund just your revenue, so that you have a better picture of how much revenue you have for just your general fund. We'll take those school taxes right out of there. If we don't do it that way,
Makes a lot of sense.
what was that?
We're all saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, excellent,
Yes,
good,
yes,
great, wonderful.
That's on my radar to set that process up, because it won't happen again now for another 6 months, 4 months. And so whoever you get in that seat next, or whoever is there, I'm going to be writing up a procedure for that. Let's see. So, under the accounts payable, Bonnie had needed something for FY25. She got it, the AP schedules, before I even could get to it. So that was done. Karen and I talked a lot about booking revenue for grants when a reimbursement request is made. So you guys spend some money, and Karen or whoever's involved with a grant sends to the grantor a request to reimburse, and to immediately put it on the books so that we know that it's coming, but it comes in as a receivable. So we've done a little bit of that. I think there's a couple more that Karen's asked me to do, but it should be done for all grants, and that's something that we'll have to talk about. But I have booked some of those, so that if you look at the FEMA fund, you'll see, not FEMA, your flood fund, you'll see grant money received, but on the balance sheet, you'll also see a receivable. So it shows that the money just hasn't come in yet. Okay.
Yeah, and the best part of that is that by booking it when we're expecting it, we're labeling, like we're putting it in the right place. So we know this is for this project, or this section of the road, or this bridge. And it goes in at that point as a receivable. So then when the money comes in, you're not wondering, oh, that was a big lump from the state. What was that for? You know, you're not having to track it back. So it's like, it will make everything much easier that way.
Yeah, I often go into town offices, and they get really mad. They're like, is there feedback coming in there? They get really upset that the state is not labeling it properly. And I'm like, they shouldn't have to. You should know what's coming in.
Yeah, a lot of the challenge with this round, since the monies have started coming in, is that they came in lumps and they were combined, and we didn't know what was it for. You know, it came from the state, so was it for Federal Highway and Agency of Transportation? Was it for some other account? Was it, you know, and there were other grants that were in play for other departments and committees that we didn't know about. So those landed in those checks as well. So it's been a lot of like pulling apart, like where did this come from, and what was it for, and which grant. But I think when we put this process in place, it'll make everything easier on the revenue side for grants.
Yeah. And the other thing I want people to take note of while we're talking is we're talking a lot about coding. Where do things land in your budget, and what funds do they land in? Because Karen and I spent 2, 3, 4 hours between the two of us, together and apart, picking apart expense line items. Is this the right line item that the expense should be in? And so we've talked about it today with the highway budget. I did 25 entries to reclass expenses. So keep this in mind when we talk about the AP procedure. So, because it really is about the point, either the point that you receive money or the point that you spend money. You have to understand your chart of accounts. You have to understand your funds, so you make sure that things get posted to the correct place from the very beginning. Because the last thing that an auditor wants to see, a CPA firm, is hundreds of journal entries reclassifying or correcting mistakes. They get really cranky about that.
As they should.
Yeah. So the other thing on here is the revolving loan fund. Bonnie has been compiling some information. Carol put her in touch with somebody that could help her with that. So that is something that is not currently in your NIMRIC system, and there's not a place to track it, but we will be adding that once I think I created a fund for her to use. I think payroll and human resources section, we talked about everything there. First biweekly payroll is June 12th. We did a workers' comp audit between Kayla, who works for me, and Carol and Jamie, helping get paperwork together. That workers' comp audit has been completed through VLCT. If there was any missing paperwork on any vendors, you guys just have to be aware they may add it to your payroll, which actually increases possibly your rate that they charge you for workers' comp insurance. So as an example, if you paid somebody out of accounts payable but didn't have a contract or didn't have insurance paperwork or didn't have their W-9, they add the amount you paid them to the payroll total. Payroll is where they determine what your rate is for your workers' comp. So that's going to speak to what we're talking about with the accounts payable procedure as well. That will help eliminate this type of stuff happening in the future with an audit. Let's see. Towards the end, we're talking a little bit about writing up some policies. Like I said earlier, I haven't really dug too much into water and sewer, but I feel like that is the next area that I really need to dig into, which I know is not really your oversight, but it's part of the town, and we need to make sure all of the policies are going across everything, because you don't want different policies and different ways of doing things from one fund to the next. Then that just becomes too confusing. Right now, the water and sewer is billed out of the utility billing program in NIMRIC, but I don't believe it's linked to the financial system. A lot of things are done manually. So that's an area I want to work on. I think the immediate priorities we've pretty much dealt with. Those are at the bottom of the page. And then the other stuff is really just procedure stuff. Like, let's go through this accounts payable operating procedure and talk about a credit card policy. And I think there was something with cash receipts we might be talking about. So does anybody have any questions on where we're at? And like, I think somebody said, it might've been in the meeting I watched from the last time or even earlier, is new tasks and new challenges come up every day. And we're kind of on the fly deciding who's doing it and how it's going to get done. So my main goal is kind of getting the task done, figuring out who should be doing it in the future, and coming up with a procedure for it so we know who's responsible and who, how it gets done and when it gets done. I think it's really hard right now for the select board, for the people in the office, to really tell who does what. Because like I said, we're coming up with new things every day that we're finding out, whoa, this didn't get done. We need to, we're light years ahead of where we were a month and a half ago.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Cynthia, this is Andy. My question for you, I have several, but I'll give you one to start, which is, up to this point, you had said, don't hire a treasurer until we have systems in place that they can embrace, adopt, learn. Are we there yet?
I think actually I probably would say yes. There's a lot of things I could say, yep, this is what needs to be done. This is when it needs to be done. And yep. So, I mean, one of the big examples is payroll, right? We're all caught up. That person's not going to have to play catch up. They can just start right in. Bank reconciliations, they're not going to have to play catch up. They can start right in. So yes, I feel much better about the position now than I did the last time I was here.
Oh, it's such good news.
That's wonderful news.
Yeah.
Andy, you had other questions.
Oh, yeah.
Go
No,
ahead.
I don't want to hog the mic because Karen, you had questions. You good?
I'm good.
Go.
Okay.
Go.
So, second question then is, based on where we are and the work you've done, by the way, you're amazing. Whatever we're paying you is probably not enough. So, thank you for your nerdishness in this space. We see your nerdiness and we like it. What's the weakest link at this point? Or maybe it's plural. What are the weakest links in the system that haven't been corrected yet or are going to be the hardest to correct?
I think that they're links, not a link. I think it's kind of, I've said it a lot in the last few weeks. I haven't done a project like this in a really long time, like really dumb, headfirst into really getting into every piece of everything. And I think for me, the biggest challenge I've had is what I said at the beginning, is that it's been very hard for me to understand who does what. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. I think it's because you've had this enormous task of trying to figure out yourselves who does what, and then you've had the challenge of people, the turnover, right? And you know, different people having different things. So that would be my main thing. If we could really focus on who's doing what, and so that would be helpful. And then it's just really, I think the other hurdle right now is getting that audit done. Is because, like I said, I don't anticipate that once Bonnie is done with her work and that the auditors can start doing their work, I don't anticipate any huge changes to what Bonnie's done, but you never know. And so what they do affects what happens in the year we're working in now. So I'm always battling with that. Am I missing something because something wasn't done correctly last year that I'm not looking at? So those things, the other things I think are just daily, let's check these things off the list and make sure people know who's responsible and give them a plan on how to do it.
Cynthia, Peter, I wanted to ask about, you mentioned auditor. And you and I have had a couple of emails and talked a little bit about our local elected auditors. We supposedly have 3. I think we actually have 1. And, you know, what do they do? How do they fit into this new system? When I go to the League of Cities and Towns and I look at the handbook and what auditors are supposed to do, we don't come close to doing what is outlined there. And I'm wondering, given, you know, the world we live in these days and the requirements of the bond bank for professional audits, whether we've outlived the elective auditor position and should go to a professional audit on an annual basis. I mean, we're currently going to pay Sullivan and Powers for FY 2025, FY 2026, and FY 2027. So what happens in FY 2028?
Right. So most towns that have, a lot of towns are in this situation, right? It's a rare occurrence for me to run into a town where they have local auditors that are extremely active. I can think of a couple right now. They do a good job, but they do very different things in each town. And so I think that there is a place for local auditors, but it's very different than what an audit firm will do for your annual audit. We had local auditors in the town that I was the town manager, and what I had them do was I had them come in and do some testing. Like, come in and pull 4 or 5 invoices and some payroll and backtrack it all the way through the policy. Did it get coded? Did it get posted to the right number? Did it get approved by the department head? Look at the credit card statement. Are the credit card statements backed up with receipts? Are there any personal charges on it? So they were doing like auditing of transactions, because if you're going to have a local auditor, like that's something that they could do. That's extremely, like, to me, it makes everybody kind of be like, oh, somebody is really checking, you know, some of the procedures that we're using. I have other towns where local auditors just really put the town report together. They take whatever, you know, the information is that's given to them and they organize it. They work with the printer, they put it in a form, but they don't really audit the numbers. So when there's a local auditor involved, it's really like, where is the need in the finance office that will really help them, right? If you don't have elected local auditors, you have to have a CPA audit every year. So that's the other thing. Now, with the amount of money and the amount of grant money and the activity you guys have going on, I would want a CPA audit every year. but it's a requirement for a lot of these borrowing. We've already noticed it tonight. There's one you might miss because you don't have it done. So, and then I always ask the auditor, do you feel like you're making a difference? Like a local auditor. Like I worked with one town, they're like, I don't even, I just check things off the statement. I don't even know what I'm checking them off for. I just know they're there. And so, it's up to each individual town what they want. If they want a local auditor, I think probably most towns have outgrown that system. But
yeah, thank you for that. And I would just say, from my perspective as the grants administrator wearing that hat, that I would be far more comfortable having a CPA firm doing our audits and making sure that we're doing everything correctly, getting all the money we're supposed to get from all the places we're supposed to get it and tracking it correctly and doing the single audit and all of, because there is so much money coming in, and I would just be much more comfortable if we knew that we had professional eyes on our books every year. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, we're fiduciaries, right? That's literally our job. So we have to rely on professionals to keep us on the straight and narrow. Cynthia, my other question here is, and I don't know if you can answer this, because I'll ask it two ways. The one way to ask it is what percentage of the cleanup is done? Are you 80% done, 70%, 90%? Or another way to ask this question is how many more months of squeezing the errors out of the system until we get to the place where we're more or less error-free?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't know that I want to answer that. Okay. I mean, like I said, I feel so much better than I did 6 weeks ago. And I feel like we're now working on the minutia details, like to have somebody go through every single line item in their department and they have multiple line items and he went through and highlighted everything that needed to be moved to a different, that's the minutia stuff. Like I said to Peter the other day, I know you guys care, but I don't care if it's under sand or salt. Because the bottom line is the bottom line. I want to know, did we post a transaction to highway that really should have been posted to a federal grant? Or did we post something to like the emergency management department that should have been paid out of the shelter reserve? Like those are the things I'm concerned about because that changes fund balance within a fund. If I have a $99 charge in sand and it should go to somewhere else, I don't, do I want it right? Yes, but it's not as important to me. So I feel like we're more in the details than we were. So that makes me feel like we're getting close. And then it's really going to depend on the capacity of the person that you get to take the job. Because if you find somebody quickly that I can say to them, okay, this task is done this way, and they grasp it and they do it, or I say, these are the things that I see and they run with it. There are people that have that skill. So, and then if there's two of us working on it, so there's a lot of variables that could change the answer to that question pretty quickly. But we are light years ahead of where we were.
I just wanted to add in terms of, we have started and, Michael Bingham did a great job, and thanks Carl for meeting with me and taking that and getting that done so quickly. We still have a number of departments to go through. We have the office itself to go through, and there's a lot of stuff in that end audit section that really should be in the municipal office, but so we have to do that, and just a request to anyone who liaises with somebody to liaise on this to get it done as quickly as possible. I'm happy to help you walk through that.
I'll just give you a quick example of like what's really eating at me to be able to tell you guys, like, this is what I think your fund balance is. Okay. So Karen, I think you had a question of a revenue. Oh, am I okay now?
You're
Now
back.
Good. Go ahead. Try again.
You're back.
So I don't know what you heard, but Karen, you asked a question about a revenue and it was labeled a grant, like ER or something.
Yep.
And it was in the general fund. And it was the description and the number are there because there was a grant that I didn't know where it was supposed to go. So I just made up that number. So you're right, it shouldn't be there. But with the work that you and I did, going line by line through the grants, I was able to move it out of the general fund. But that was a $30,000 grant that would have shown as revenue to the general fund. That was not true.
Right. Okay.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so those kinds of things are what we're clearing up.
Great.
Tammy's got a question.
So I have a question. Are you, I guess because I was posting payments, I was looking at vendors and going through it that way. I can honestly tell you, obviously, I saw a lot by looking up a vendor, but there was a lot of vendors that we were dividing payments up, such as Casella's, for example, because of the way the system works, is if you had 3 or 4 chart of accounts listed, automatically they would divide. So if the bill was $400, they would say these chart of accounts are $100 each, which wasn't correct. So are we going to, I guess that would be the first, I guess, a quick, because I know like Mike Bingham isn't going to notice Casella's, which should have been, you know, $80 over here. And I think that's where you're going to get a lot of your, I agree, like whether it's under salt or, you know, sand or whatever. I think I had made the comment to you. It doesn't matter if it's yellow or blue, right?
Right.
But it does need to be in the right budget. And I think that we do need to look at those AT&T, Casella's, all those ones that are in multiple budgets, because Mike Bingham's not going to notice that, or, you know, Mike Billingsley's isn't going to notice those. So that would be another recommendation as we start looking at AT&T, Casella's, anything that's
Any of those that you guys run up against, just start making a list and I can show you in the software where to change it. Because we can set it up that the defaults don't default to any amount. It's just 0, but the account numbers are there.
Yeah, I think that you're going to find less errors at this point if we could change that, just because I was seeing a lot of errors in reference to that. So,
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Cynthia, I wanted to maybe make a point and hear your comment on, while we straighten all this stuff out, and this will be very helpful for us just in terms of the town overall, the select board and the citizens understanding the full budget, but having the proper coding done at the front end also means that those department heads will be able to track their budgets during the year and know what they have left. They kind of know what projects may be coming, but what's left in the account. And we have been sorely lacking in the ability to do that. You know, at the town level, much less at the department level. So I think there's, you know, multiple benefits of this exercise.
Yes, I totally agree. And when boards and department heads start getting a report on a monthly basis, we can easily catch a mistake when it's made too, instead of trying to look at the whole entire year and then spend, you know, it was an hour and a half that I took today just reclassing expenses in that highway budget, you know, and then another 45 minutes of doing the emergency management reclassing. So that upfront work is going to be the key for you guys to be able to have really good financial reporting on a regular basis. So I think everything we're putting together is, I know there's growing pains. I know people are a little bit worried about the layer of work it might put on them individually, or it's a change from what has been happening. And but there's just a necessity for some consistency and for some procedures that will help cut down on some of this. You guys, we're all human. Somebody's going to make a mistake, but it's a matter of, are we going to catch the mistake in 6 months after the end of the year, or are we going to catch it in the month that it happened?
Right.
you know.
So.
I mean, and I want to go back. I want to go back to the question of like, how close are we kind of question. Well, we only have a few weeks until the end of the year again.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is a little bit of urgency on my part to try to get it as clean as I can. But the next challenge that I will have, or whoever is going to be in that office will have, is we are going to have to keep 2 years open, because once we close in June or mid-July this fiscal year, we can no longer post to FY25, which is the year you're having audited. So if there are changes, I can't post to that year once I close. So I have a strategy to deal with that, but it is another layer of complication that someone's going to have to understand.
So given what you know about how money moves through the office and the people who handle it, do you have any concerns or recommendations about financial controls, chain of custody, that sort of thing? Or are you seeing what you're seeing is okay?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really witnessed it like firsthand. I've been, kind of told like how it happens. I would like to see, and I think Jamie and Carol and I have all talked about this, is a system where when money comes in, so this is just receipts, you're receiving money over the counter is what we say, or from taxpayers or whatever, is to have one point of sale for that. We have a system set up. It's called the cash receipt module. You can use it as a cash register. It will give a receipt if you need to. And during busy times, we can set it up in 2 locations. So somebody can be doing, the mail for taxes, and somebody can be taking over the counter. So it's not going to always be restricted to one person. And I think probably for the most part, that is what's happening. It's just logistically, I don't know, in the office, like I mentioned, putting that system like right at the window, so that they didn't have to run back to their office to type the entry. And I think, Jamie, I don't know, you can let me know if that has changed or if we've made any changes in that area.
Yeah, I think the consent vote, right? Okay. So yeah, we're all on board with that idea. I think we're trying to negotiate the physical space, because right now where we have the window counter set up, there wouldn't be room for the computer. So like, yeah, it's a little bit of a there's a couple barriers to that, but we've got that on the horizon, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that the chain of custody is someone's bringing it in, they're cashing it up, I guess, lack of better term, but cashing it up, making sure that the deposit that they put in the system matches what they got for money, and then it's turned over to Carol for Carol to deposit. You guys stop me if I'm like saying something that's completely not happening, but I think we've had some hiccups with it. Sometimes the cash wasn't balancing. But I think in my mind, that was kind of a logistical thing. And that's why I came up with the suggestion of this space of having, it, and inputting when somebody's standing there. I use the example of you don't just go into a grocery store and throw your money on the counter. You have to wait for the person to go through the process. And if that means people have to wait when it's busy, people have to wait. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you just have to start really, you don't have to be like mean and nasty about it. But if there's 5 people in line and your process is to post the payment while they're standing there, and especially if they have cash, give them a receipt, they have to wait or they have to come back. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know any other place where you can just give money to somebody and not have them report it. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just to follow up on the internal controls, as part of the loan application for the bond bank, it references the internal financial control checklist for municipalities from the state auditor's office. And, we have to answer these questions for this. And I'm just wondering, I know you have a copy of this, is like, a status report on, how well we do with this, so we can answer these questions honestly.
Yeah, I read it today. I was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was a little bit I mean, I'll review them again and have a discussion, but I've got to review them and really I think some of them about 4 months ago, we would have said no to a lot of it. I think there's a lot now we can say yes to.
Yeah. Or we have a substantive alternative that
Right.
gets to the right function, if you will.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I did want to mention the whole cat. So you guys have a financial, what is it called? It is called a financial policy that you guys adopted at some point, or somebody did, maybe not this particular board, but
Last fall, we adopted it, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
There is a section on cash receipt, petty cash, and return check. And there is a section that says if someone gives cash, they have to get a receipt. So
Correct.
there was a point we were talking about that, and I was going to create, maybe write something up, but I feel like that section of your policy covers that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we had to adopt that to submit the community development block grant. What
Yeah.
we did was we went to League of Cities, I think it was Dan Fingus, went to League of Cities and Towns, took the model policies, brought them back.
Yeah.
We basically adopted them. What we didn't do was the procedures to implement various sections of it. So, the question is, do we stick with those policies? Do we tweak them in places? And then, putting the protocols in place to implement them.
Yeah. I tend to get a lot of pushback from smaller towns when I tell them what my recommendations are for a cash receipt policy, basically what you're bringing into the building every day, because I prefer a daily cash up. I like to pick a time in the afternoon, cash up. What I get for feedback a lot of times is sometimes we don't have any money. Well, you don't do a cash up that day. Or I only sold one dog license. I just like people to get into the mode of cash up every day. I don't care if you have to go to the bank with 5 deposits for the week or have to run it. I tend to be a little, I don't get on my high horse and be like, you have to do it. You have to pick the schedule that works for you as a town, but it just makes for easier backtracking when you're looking for something. So if it's not going to be every day, be consistent. It's every week or it's every other day. Like, don't do it willy-nilly, like every 2 weeks or whatever. So.
I have a question, Ms. Michael, I had worked out a system with Josh, which I think might still work, but where this is on the invoice side. We would provide a invoice to the email address called invoices. It would arrive at Josh's office along with an accompanying email, which would say what the expense was for and under which of the major accounts, emergency management or hazard mitigation or shelter reserve fund, that it was intended to come from. Is that still going to be approximately the way it works? I mean, we still will be generating invoices, and I want to make sure that we do that part correctly.
When you say you will be generating invoices, you mean receiving them from vendors, or you're generating an invoice yourself for something?
The first one.
Okay. So the operating procedure that I wrote up for accounts payable, I don't want to say that it's exactly like what you're describing, but it should cover what needs to be done to achieve what you just said. So, I mean, to be honest with you, and somebody there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like invoices, it has been a struggle to put town invoices in because there's been different people trying to help get them in, to get them paid. And sometimes you just don't know what code to use. So maybe for your stuff, it's been a little more clear, but I just think that that's not, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of the sense that I got.
It has not always been clear because first I asked every vendor to send a copy of the invoice to me so I could track the ongoing costs of things, and they
Yeah.
didn't always do that. And also, as I explained in another email I'm sending you, that the chart of accounts under emergency management has many subcategories that weren't intended to be line items. They were something that was taken by our former town treasurer and as part of a budget narrative that I created for the select board, and acted as if they were actual accounts we're spending money from, and we're not. So I want to advise.
Well, that's the way it's presented in the town report, as individual line items with their own individual budgets. So we don't have in the NIMRIC system what you describe as a subcategory. We have individual expense lines within a department, but they're not called sub. If you're used to looking at like a QuickBooks, that's a different system than this. So
if you were to look at what then you would call expense lines under emergency management, there are many categories there that we are not actually spending money in that way at all. In other words, they were things that emergency management coordinator, for instance, doesn't spend money at all. But and there are things that were broken apart as if they were the emergency operations center. But it was just to show the select board how we intended to spend money. It wasn't supposed to be expense lines. And when it got turned into expense lines, there was no match between what we were spending in terms of how we knew it was being spent and the line that it should be assigned to, because that line either didn't exist or was wrongly stated. So I'd like to just revise that at some point if we could.
did you see the email I sent you tonight before this meeting?
Not yet, no. I was
Okay, so take a look at that, and then you and I should talk.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, it might help clear up your question, or it might help me understand how it should be seen. But I did it exactly the way it was presented in the town report. And that is the budget that the voters voted on. And so I moved some expenses, like if it was a AT&T bill, I moved it to the phone line.
Okay, well, the total would be the same in terms of.
Yep, the total is the same. Yep.
Yeah, but the actual way it's categorized underneath that is the problem.
Yeah, take a look at that email I sent you. I answered some of your questions, I think.
I saw your first email, so I think that gives me a clue.
Okay.
Well, Michael, I have some stuff to show you too, so we should talk.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So I just, do we want to have a quick, how much longer do you have for me?
You're coming to the credit card policy moment, but you know, we have any space in this agenda. This is a precious moment for you to offer this. Welcome your continuing until you feel done here.
I would like to go through that accounts payable procedure.
That
Yes.
makes sense to me.
Go ahead.
Because I think that will help answer maybe a question Michael had. And so what seems to work best in the towns that are not having a lot of reclassifications because things are coded incorrectly, or having an issue issuing 1099s at the end of the year because they don't have the proper documentation. The best system I've seen is the one that I sent you the draft of a standard operating procedure for accounts payable. So I'm suggesting that the town, and now in this is water and sewer bills too. So I know you guys are not the overseers of those budgets, but the town is receiving bills for town, water, sewer, and whatever else, right? So my recommendation has been to gather invoices when they come in. Someone should be the point of getting the mail. I don't know who that person's going to be, but someone needs to pick the mail up and distribute the mail to whoever needs it. That's a task. You guys are going to have to figure out who that person or who that position does that. They open the mail, and when they find an invoice, I sent you guys a picture of a stamp that you can purchase that actually gives you an approval line, a GL code, the date you received the invoice. I sent it in an email right before this meeting.
Cynthia, is this, you're saying this is the function of the person who picks up the mail and opens it?
Yep. It's really just picking it up, and if it's an invoice, put that stamp on it because somebody's going to have to fill it out, right? Then within the office itself, you have a location that has mailboxes. Road foreman, water, I don't know what the water guy's official name is, but town clerk, emergency management, grants, whatever, right? Whoever these, and if there's an invoice for that particular person, position, whoever's in charge of the budget that this falls under, and then there's one that's kind of like a free-for-all, like we don't know, right? We get an invoice, we're not quite sure. On a regular basis, either these people stop by the office that are in charge of that section of their budget, or it's done through electronic. You can scan the invoice, send it to the department head, whatever. I don't know how you guys will figure that out, but that person has a copy of their budget with the account number codes on it. They approve the invoice because they're the ones they know they ordered it or not. You know, they were billed for 10. Well, I only got 3. This isn't right. Or this is the town of Pittsford, not Plainfield. You know, those kinds of things. They're going to know if they, so, and then that gives them the ownership over their budget. They see what they have left. They see the account numbers. Put the account number on it, okay it, and then send it back for a cycle of paying bills like every other week. Usually towns do it on meeting week. So I can't tell you how many towns call it a warrant day. They sit down and they put their bills in because their select board's going to meet in 2 days and they want to get it done for that meeting, right? So that's easy to do. You guys have regular scheduled select board meetings, and probably the water commissioners also do. Just have that schedule of this is the day I'm going to do AP, okay? And then the person that is inputting the invoices have the bills from the department. They're already coded. That person inputting invoices, which in this case right now is Carol, with probably a little bit of help, but Carol has been assigned that task. And they don't have to make judgment calls on where the bill should be posted, right? So this helps eliminate those mistakes that are being made, because the poor person putting in the bill knows they're on a deadline. They just pick a number, like this looks close enough. And so then that helps with that. And then enter those, print the checks, create a warrant. Now, remember, treasurers cannot sign a check to pay any vendor, I don't care who they are, without select board approval. So no one should, in between these 2 weeks, should be asking for a check to be cut to them. There should be a policy that you will not, unless it's an absolute emergency, right? Then you can call a special meeting for the board to sign it. But by statute, a treasurer is not able to sign a check without select board approval. That's just the law. That's what this whole process in our, in our history was set up to, is that the treasurer was ordered, we used to call it orders, was ordered to pay these bills. So then they sign it, and then somebody mails and stuffs the envelopes and sends the bills out. Now, the NIMRIC system has the ability to send things ACH. They can still be signed for before they go out. So we have some other electronic means that can be built in that would help with some of this. And then somebody has to be, staple the check to the original invoice, put them in vendor files so that they're easily able to be found. You can scan invoices into the NIMRIC system so that you can recall them in the NIMRIC system instead of having to go to a file cabinet. And, it's just that control over your own budget. And it takes the onus off of the treasurer to do the coding. Now, I've been told before that that's the treasurer's job. It is not the treasurer's job to code bills. The treasurer is not responsible for the budget. They may help create it. They may help, but that's not their job. It's the select board's fiduciary responsibility to take care of the budget, and it's the department head's responsibility to understand what they're asking the town for money and how it's being spent. The first part of this operating procedure talks about making sure you get proper documentation before you even pay a vendor, which is an IRS form W-9 if they're an independent contractor. Sometimes they need contracts, certificates of insurance. We can talk about the details of those and how they need to know when they need them. It's also recognizing if somebody's being paid as a vendor, but really should be paid as payroll. You guys have a few of those that they're probably should be considered payroll, not an AP vendor. So that's my suggestion. I know that there's a little bit of pushback on department heads not wanting to code bills. I think we can make it as painless as possible. I think once they see it, things are hard to understand until you actually do it. Like, it's really hard to understand how much time it's going to take. But I think that answers the question of, was it Michael that was talking about what Josh and him had set up? It's not the same, but it gives you the control over your line items to know where your bills are going to be paid from.
So I want to start by thanking you. I think this is something that, obviously, we're small, and when you're small, this seems like a lot of work. But if you go to any large company, I think we've all worked for them, this is how it works. So I think it's great. I think having the checks and balances in place is always a positive. So thank you. In perspective of what Mike had said, I know I've dealt with the email that comes in, but would it not make more sense for those emails to start going to the head people of their budgets? They then approve it and then submit it on, so that we're not kind of doing that back and forth.
Yeah, however.
I don't know. That might be a suggestion, is to start with sending those there. Like, Mike, for example, if he's getting an email and then he just forwards it on, he authorizes it, he puts it on there electronically, and maybe we can save the whole paper world, I guess. Because we're just at the town office, we're just printing things.
Yeah. I also want to just hop on this because I've been using the invoices at email, because I'll get invoices from the consultant we're working with on the FEMA stuff, right? And I approve it, but I send it over via that invoice account saying this is okay to pay. And it comes out of this, it's for the flood recovery 509 account. That's been working because I'm not necessarily in the office, or there wouldn't. So I think sometimes things come into the office by mail, that's one way, right? And otherwise, we sometimes also get invoices sent to us for things we've been working on. So the process needs to be able to accommodate like both of those situations, so that it all gets in the same system there.
Yeah, I would take this draft that I have and I would put in what you guys know about your individual situation. Let me just caution you about email invoices, though. If you have invoices going to either several email accounts or individual email accounts within an office, I have been involved in many towns when turnover happens. All of a sudden, invoices are lost, bills are not being paid.
Right.
And so that control over where the invoices are going is very important. So in one town, they were using individual, like it would say C Stoddard at whatever, it's Plainfield right? That person had been getting emails of invoices to them, and then they left and their email was shut off. But not shut off that they couldn't accept emails. Nobody could get to it. So in that case, we ended up setting up an email that said AP invoices at whatever town. Every invoice, if they were going to sign up for an electronic invoice, came to that, because that was a shared email for people doing accounts payable. So you just got to be careful when you've got invoices coming to an individual, that if that chain ever breaks for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could heads so when you're saying that.
Microphone.
So when you're saying that, can you have head people, like, for instance, I know Karen's on that email and she does that. So could we do the similar thing so that everybody's having to approve those? But I agree, I hear what you're saying in reference to that, but I just feel like doing some electronic versus passing papers around.
Oh yeah, I totally
is
agree.
more efficient.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to your road foreman today. I was telling him about this. I was going to have this discussion about coding invoices. Is he there? Like, I keep talking about him, and I'm like,
No, he's not here.
and he, you know, his comment was he wasn't sure when he was going to have time, which I totally understand. But if he was going to have to go and pick up look in his mailbox in the office, he would need access earlier in the morning. And I said, well, they could probably scan the invoices to you. Like, it doesn't, like, the way I'm saying it doesn't have to exactly be done this way. Like, whatever, I don't care, just get the bills paid and coded right. And these are some of the ideas to get it to that point.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to offer an update about that. So I talked to Michael Bingham probably right after you did. And he asked me to set up like a highway at plainfieldvt.gov email, and also like a highway invoices at plainfieldvt.gov, so he could receive his department stuff and then forward them to our invoices at whatever. So that feels like really nice to me. I feel like that'll be just like a huge.
I'm telling you, he's getting an award from me this week.
Yes, yes. We need to throw him a party.
Yeah. Send him a certificate.
Oh, sorry.
I have a technical logistical question. I mean, hearing the highway invoices that then need to be forwarded to invoices for the town, can automatic forwarding be set up? That seems like a bottleneck.
Well,
No.
it would go to him first just for the coding.
Yes, yes, the code.
And then, I don't know, I was imagining the forwarding part, but what's more realistic is like, I don't know, printing them out, or, I don't know where he's gonna be doing that work. I know he's gonna be doing it early.
Right. So listen, this is what I know is that everybody, especially when you get people that are really used to starting to use shared drives and that kind of thing, we're always talking about email, and we're always talking about like just a mailbox in the office and that kind of thing. But at NIMRIC, we've really started to embrace using Google shared drives, where everything just gets uploaded to a shared drive when it's about a client. So like Plainfield has one on our shared drive. And if I ever have to have somebody take over, they are going to know exactly, they have access to it from my staff has access. So if I say to them, can you reconcile this bank account for me? They just go there and do it. So that's the other, you guys will come up with something once you get this down where people are coding, you might come up with another way to even do it that's even more streamlined.
So also add, I heard that you said NIMRIC actually has the ability to attach a receipt or an invoice to a transaction. So again, by doing the email, you'll be able to take that invoice right from the email and bring it over to the NIMRIC system versus having to scan it. So it is a time saver there for efficiency, and having those attached to transactions will make it so that if Bonnie needs a copy of an invoice showing that we purchased the vehicle, it's there. She can just look in our system and Carol won't have to go through files, which is amazing and time efficient. Yes.
We're going to be so good.
So, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Shall we move to the credit card authorization? Is it time?
Yeah, can we?
Yep, we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye, Carl.
you, Carl. Yeah, you throw the party for Mike and we'll come.
Yeah, he's away on vacation starting June 6th for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a Town of Plainfield, Vermont credit card use policy. And Cynthia, you sent us this too, right? That was one of your.
Yes.
So this came up as a result of a discussion that when the credit card bill came, there was some receipts missing. Like they didn't have the receipt to attach to the bill or understand what it was. And so at that point I said, well, I have a sample credit card policy that, every town should probably have. And anything I say is not telling, I have no suspicion of this whatsoever, but I can tell you the fraud that I've run into in the last few fraud cases I've had in towns have been surrounding the credit card, where they've used it for personal expenses or Yeah, and it's just not being tracked as well as it should. So that is why this policy is important, is just to put the rules right out there. Whoever's using one from the town, they sign this, they acknowledge this is what they're accepting as a responsibility. And then it helps the person that's putting in the bills to pay the credit card later be able to track it without having to track down receipts and stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Cynthia, it's a process question. What's your recommendation about, how we institute new policy? Is it from the board, in an email to the department heads, et cetera, and the people who would be involved? Is it something that the town clerk would do? Is it?
No, I think it comes from the board.
Has to come from us. And is it an in-person kind of, let's have a talk about this and explain it and why? Or is it an email to everyone saying this is the new policy and the way we're doing it? Like, what have you found that works, I guess, is what my question is.
I am a huge believer in sitting down, especially when you don't have, you only have a handful of staff. It's not like you have 50 people you're trying to and just say, this is what we're exploring. This is what are your questions? How are you feeling about it? And I always say up front that whatever you're telling me doesn't mean that I'm going to change my mind that we're not going to do this, but I want their input, because nobody likes to get something just slam in an email. This is what we're doing with no context of why it even came up. Right.
Yep.
But then you might come across a policy that is so non-controversial that you don't have to. It was like back when I was a manager in Putney, I would be like, if I was going to have a zoning meeting, a development review board meeting, I knew if I needed the fire station for the crowd or if I could just do it at my office. Like you just kind of know what's going to be controversial and what's not. So that's not to say you shouldn't always kind of put it out and say, hey, this is what we're talking about. Do you have any feedback? But it might not always mean you're face to face and having this big, huge discussion. But.
Okay, thank you.
Cynthia, I actually don't know how many credit cards the town of Plainfield has. I don't know if wastewater uses them. I don't know if any department heads have their own. I know you and Carol were doing some stuff today and got rid of one in the office. Yep. But in addition to credit cards, we have local businesses where the town has a charge account. Like I'm thinking of the Co-op hardware store, the lumberyard in East Montpelier that various departments use. Where does that fit in with? It seems to me that's like the same thing as credit card. And how does that get coded?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with how the local business tracks do they have a name on file? Do you guys, someone would have to tell me that, or they just know you, so they just know that you can.
They have to bring a receipt back.
They're supposed to bring a receipt back, but there's no way to identify. So if somebody doesn't bring that receipt back, there's no way to identify. So typically speaking, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I give an example. I went
with a credit card, right? You were one of, but typically with a credit card, everybody is given a separate digits for your credit card. So at least we can track it back to say whose credit card is this and request credit card receipts from them. But you can't do it with the store credits. So there was many when I was processing, there was some receipts missing, or people that didn't write it on there. I know you wrote something on there, I think, but that's what we were.
The example is, this happened a few months ago on a weekend. The toilet seat broke, right? And so Carol was freaking out, and I said, all right, I'm going to do a good deed here. So I went to the hardware store, got a toilet seat, bought back and replaced it. And I went to the counter and I said, okay, should I buy this myself and get a receipt? Or I said, I bet the town has a charge account here. And so I did. Now, I'm the former general manager of the co-op, so they know me, right? And so they said, yeah, the town has an account, so we'll put it on that, right? I'm thinking that probably shouldn't have occurred.
We were going to go test it to see if I could do it.
You know, but,
I agree.
but, or the co-op should have some formal communication from the town that says the following
They should have an
people.
approved list.
These are approved lists, you know, we have an approved list of people in our purchasing and procedure, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I
procurement
agree.
policy, you know.
I agree. I think that it's open to an issue, right? There could be an issue. But then there is this part of me that this is why we love Vermont, right?
Yeah,
But it does open up. So I would want the store to have some type of list. I can tell you in all the years I've done this, I've never run into an issue in that realm. Yeah, I have the credit card has been the issue for me. You know, I did some bills for a town once. I'm like, why are there cigars on this credit card? Like, who's
It's the smoke-filled room.
I do want to say, in the midst of all this, I just got an email from one of our contractors working on one of our projects that we have again overpaid. This is twice in a row that we've overpaid them, and they're applying the credit for the next invoice. So this has happened now two times. So all of what we're talking about tonight is like real time. This is happening, and we need these systems. You know, we really, really, really need them. So I just came
And
in.
it sounds like what I heard. It sounds like what I heard today is that the invoices that were in the office are caught up now, right? So this is a good time to implement this, and I feel like it's a good time to implement even having the coding done by department heads, because I do have the chart of accounts to mostly what it should be, right? So it's a good list for them to start using it.
well, and I think given that we're almost at June 1st and our new fiscal year starts July 1st, we can use the month of June to basically try it out, and people can fumble a couple of times and, you know, whatnot. But, you know, we should really start the new fiscal year doing this all right.
Yeah. And I'm happy to work with people that need to look at the chart of accounts to show them, you know, what number we're talking about and how to code. I feel like, Tammy, there's people there that can do that too. So I don't know that you need me, but I would take that procedure that I put in place and I would refine it to the way you guys want it. And with all the things we said tonight, and you can implement it. It's really not that major of a change.
I had Andy and Tammy, did you want to bring us back to credit?
I was going to make a motion.
Back to credit cards,
Yeah, but
okay.
let's nail this first.
So just some financial advice in the sense of credit cards. Typically, if you get the right credit card, you get some points. So instead of using a Plainfield hardware store, get some points for the town and save us some money.
Yeah, but they want a transaction.
Work at airline miles and go take a vacation,
You
right?
can go on vacation, but you should get it back to your statement, so.
I'm kidding.
It's an advantage.
Don't write that down, Eric. I didn't mean it.
So, I'm going to move to accept the credit card use policy as submitted by NEMRIC.
I second that.
Friendly amendment.
Yes,
There are some fill in the blanks about the policy
that's true.
that we need to fill in before we can approve it, I believe. So, set monthly limit, single purchase limit, naming the approval from, department head,
Yeah.
et cetera. So I don't need to go through them all, but
So
there's some fill in the blanks here.
So then I will withdraw my motion and let's look at that and do it at the next meeting.
Okay. I think that we have some, in our purchasing and procurement policies, there are some dollar limits and there are some named officers. So we want to take a look at that and see if there are any additions, and we might need to amend that policy in order to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's right. So a little more work on this.
And then also, I think on the accounts payable policy, if we want to massage that a little bit and get that to where it makes the most sense for us, and then bring that back to the next meeting for adoption, we could do that.
I'm sorry, what is?
Sorry,
what
the
are we-
accounts payable
Okay, so bringing back both the accounts payable and the credit
and the credit
card
cards,
policy.
The two
To
action
June
steps
8th.
there. Yeah.
right, for June 8th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Cynthia, did you give us one for cash also? Was there a?
It's in
No,
the
because
already.
it's already in that financial policy.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
That's
our
more of a
yeah, the financial policies that we adopted are on the town website. And as are these documents now on the select board page, the public documents link
Okay.
that's Jamie put up there, so.
I
Yeah,
think the
Jamie.
cash side of things is more a procedure than a policy.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
So in reference to the accounts payable, I almost feel like doing that sooner than later would make sense if you're trying to catch, because all bills come out the beginning, so the first 2 weeks of the month are usually your busiest. So I don't know if we can kind of look at that and maybe throw some stuff in there about, I don't know. I'm just thinking if you're trying to get this into play, usually first 2 weeks were the busiest putting in your bills.
I wanted to, now that we've gone to bi-weekly payroll, if we did, what did you call it, warrant a day or whatever, if we did bi-weekly accounts payable in the non-payroll week.
That would be the ultimate schedule.
Efficiency.
Yep.
So the other thing to take into consideration is just making sure that we're timing our bills so that, because the post office is taking so long. So I think that's what you're running into, is that we're getting a lot of duplicate bills because we're sending it 2 weeks and then the mail's taking 2 weeks and then our bills are showing like double pay, that we owe more than we do. And I know that that's been a lot of it, is that just trying to figure out what's been paid and what hasn't, that type of thing. So just taking into consideration.
The other thing is there might need to be some training on accounts payable, because you shouldn't, if you've paid an invoice and you try to use that same invoice number again, it should tell you that it's been paid. So I don't know what's happening with that. And then some training on that default general ledger numbers for like phone bills and stuff. We should go over that. But it's really going to be, for me, who is going to do the training. Now, the last I knew is that Carol was doing the APs. It sounds like Tammy's been helping. So I just need the direction of who it is that's going to be trained on this, because I'm happy to sit with them for a couple hours. We'll just do it remotely and say, let's talk about how it's going on and what we can do to streamline some of these things. But you shouldn't be getting too many of these duplicate payments, because the invoice would be the same, whether it's on a statement or it's a duplicate invoice. I don't quite get that, but.
This is Francis Rose, and I'm looking at the accounts payable standard operating procedures that you're proposing here, and there are none of the fill-in-the-blanks, or there are not fill-in-the-blanks as there were with the credit card policy. So I'm wondering if the accounts payable is something you can make a motion on tonight.
I think that one needs to be refined with what you guys need.
Understood.
Well, if we adopted it tonight and then we refined it, we could then re-adopt. I mean, at least that gets us started, to Tammy's point, right?
Yes.
That at least gets it moving, and then we
can always amend.
We can amend it and make it better.
Yep, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we adopt the standard operating procedure for accounts payable as outlined by Cynthia Stoddard.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you, that's big, people.
That is big.
All right.
Cynthia's big.
And then the process of informing folks and kind of training folks, we need to work through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is a training period to work on, see about adopting this and see where it has to change.
Right.
And then we'll be revisiting this in 2 weeks.
And, I'll give you an example. I don't know who the AP clerk is.
Well,
It's assigned to somebody, and I don't know who that somebody is, so we need to figure that out.
right now, I would say technically it's Carol.
Okay.
Whether she's delegating or having somebody help her, that's different. But the last I knew, the discussion with Carol, Peter, and maybe, I don't know if Francis was involved in it, but it was Carol was going to do it.
Yep.
Yes.
Fine.
So it's, to me, it's a treasurer responsibility. Doesn't mean they're not going to be able to delegate it to an assistant or somebody else, but that's their responsibility.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Great.
Very
Okay.
good.
Cynthia.
All right.
Thank
so-
you.
So, and we've postponed the credit card policy, and so now we're going to go to fire code violations. So
Thanks, Cynthia. We can let you go.
I think we can let you go, and.
What are you talking about? Well, who's the finance director check-in? Is that your
The interview.
ad for the person?
Yeah, that's our hiring process.
That's our,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't need to be
So-
there for that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome to stay on.
My husband cooks ribs downstairs and I can smell them.
Ah.
Thank
So.
you.
Okay. Yep. Bye.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Cynthia, yo woman's work here. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is fire code violations at the town office.
We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down.
All right,
What happened?
so we did have an inspector come, and we had a number of things written up. Did you all get a chance to review it?
I did not get that.
No, I didn't see that.
I think Carol sent this out maybe 2 weeks ago,
Oh my gosh.
a little while
I
ago.
will forward it to you all right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
I posted it in the public document.
Yes, it's in the public documents, okay. The following were noted at the time of inspection. Stairwell doors shall be kept closed at all times and shall be labeled fire door, keep closed. And you guys have done that.
Yes, Kristen included fire emojis, so it's very obvious.
All right.
I love it. Good.
Stairwell doors shall be self-closing and self-latching. I think what they're talking about is having those contraptions that, like, if you open the door, it automatically closes it sufficiently so that it latches.
Yes, and ours do like auto close, we haven't noticed, but I don't know that it.
Some do and some, yeah, apparently not all of the ones in the stairwells do. So I don't know which ones do and don't. Remove the storage located in front of the elevator lobby. I think that was a temporary thing, that's all done. All right, okay.
Yeah.
The front door was discussed. If replaced, it must have a state permit and the door may swing in either direction. It doesn't sound to me like there's anything wrong with the front door.
Maybe that came about because a lot of people try to open it, is it out, and then it's really a pull or something? It goes the opposite way of what people are expecting.
But is that a fire code violation?
I don't think so. Oh, yeah, but it's showing in the report.
It says it was discussed. It says if you replace it,
Okay.
you need a state permit. I didn't know you needed a state permit to replace a door.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're saying any construction or modification in a municipal building.
It's a public building. Yeah.
okay,
Public
all
building.
right.
Yeah.
And who does that come from? Labor and Industry?
Not a clue.
I would have to.
We're not planning to replace the front door at the moment,
No,
so
okay.
we could look over that.
Handrails are required on the exterior ramp and stairs. Now, I did go and look at the building. We have handrails on all stairs. The rear ramp has handrails on both sides going up and then all the way up on the inside wall to the back. So I think the only handrail that is missing is on the front porch along the handicap access ramp. There's a railing, but it doesn't meet the ADA standards of going up. I don't know why it says a fire code violation, but that would seem to me the one place that needs something there. The new door installed from the lobby into the town clerk's office does not meet code requirements. This is the Dutch door thing. The door must be able to swing open to 90 degrees, and the height of the shelf on the door cannot exceed 36 inches above grade, and that's to accommodate someone in a wheelchair.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know what we do there. That door costs like $800 or something, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, that's a huge bummer. And I guess I wanna clarify that.
Grab the mic.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, I can hear myself. So when Carol was first telling me about it, I wasn't clear on whether it needed the, lower shelf as, whether that we needed to replace the higher shelf, or whether we could like get away with installing two, because I was like, oh, that'd be actually really handy. But this report makes it sound like it should have
It makes it
shelf.
sound like it shouldn't have been cut in half, it should have been cut in like 2/3 or something. But
Right.
doesn't that make the shelf too low for
Moot, you can't,
a
yeah,
lot of other people? I'm not
Yeah,
quite sure what they were
yeah,
getting at here,
It
so.
doesn't sound very versatile, I don't know, that will take research, I guess.
I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to make a phone call and have a conversation about the report and get clarification about exactly what they're looking for, because we're not clear. Yeah,
If I'm reading this right, it was inspected on April 30th, and they say we're due to comply by June 30th, so we have time to talk.
a little bit, so maybe let's just find out. Yeah,
So are you volunteering?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
Looking at Jamie, I'm like,
I
we're
mean,
making a
this
call.
is a staff thing, I think.
Okay,
I think Jamie can do
I
it.
think so, because, I mean, whatever spending is gonna have to come out of the town office maintenance fund or something, I don't know, but,
Okay.
all right.
If we
So-
don't have a building and grounds committee,
Yeah.
So, no action on this tonight in terms of select board, and Jamie will look into talking to the fire inspector to ask and follow up on a couple of these things. Yeah,
May I schedule this to return again on June 8th, so that you'll have learned anything and can ask us if there's anything that needs a motion?
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right. Let's move on
NEK,
to,
that's this one.
all right, so the next one is the request from the cable people. Okay, and this was for a right-of-way permit. And I know that they were in contact with Michael Bingham, and I gather they went out and did a field
Is it?
visit. I haven't heard anything back specifically from him.
He's on vacation, so.
No, June 6th.
No, June 6th he takes off, so. Do you know anything, Jamie?
I know nothing.
Okay.
Well,
There's a form here that says right-of-way permit number, right-of-way application number, filled in by
it's the road and street number for the right-of-way permit. It's actually, in the map, it is the property that is, my neighbor, Heather Ritchie, and the next neighbor, Jeremy Bevins. It's along that stretch of Country Club Road.
Do they need an approval from us? Why is this on the agenda?
It's
It's a
required
permit,
signature.
it requires a permit from the select board. They haven't filled out some of it. They're the applicant, but I don't know if, I guess this is a standard template that they have right-of-way permit numbers. I don't know if we have a right-of-way permit numbering system in town. Do you, Tammy?
I'm wondering if, again, this is like, we don't have all the information, so, yeah, this is underground location. And the right-of-way is, it's in the road.
It is in the road.
It's in
yeah.
the road.
Yeah, that's why they went out to look at it, so.
Okay, from my email, just to update.
Please,
Mike?
yep, thank you.
The last communication on this was May 14th. There's a placeholder for this agenda item now. Michael, after the ride around, please let the select board know if you endorse this proposal. So we've not yet actually heard from Michael. on this. I think that's what we're waiting for. With the go-ahead from the road foreman, we could pass the motion and approve it. But without hearing from Michael, I think we can't act on this right now, full awareness of what's happening.
Okay,
So usually Mike does sign off on the permits.
Yeah.
first.
yeah, well, we asked them to, we asked them to go check it out.
There's 2 stretches of road on Country Club that are part of this, so we need Michael before we can take action.
Can we approve now pending
Pending.
Michael's approval?
Well, that would move it along
Right.
instead of
I suppose we
delaying
could.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
That's okay with me.
Could do
Good
that.
idea.
from our road foreman, is that how I should write this?
Yes. Are you making the motion, Andy?
I can move it, hang on. This is a permit?
Permit for use of right-of-way for NEK Broadband. Doing business, DBA NEKCV.
I can add that.
Okay.
So there is an application here for the right-of-way use permit. Date sent to road foreman. So, yeah, okay, so I think it's this form and this form that need action once we hear from Michael.
All right, so here's the motion. Motion to approve the permit for use of the right-of-way, and I'll add the name of the company, pending approval from the Plainfield Road foreman.
Second.
Seconded by Francis Rose. Any further discussion on that?
Sounds good.
I'm okay with that.
All right, so we need to sign,
So
we
this
need
is-
to sign this one, and then Michael needs to sign that? Is that the
Date
road
sent,
commission?
so this is what gets completed, date sent to the road foreman, excuse me, to the road commissioner, and then date decision by the select board, right? So this gets completed to go with the
Okay.
permit right of use of right of way.
Good.
And
Does Carl or Michael need to sign it? That's
no,
my
just the dates that went to them, not signing,
question. Okay,
no. We complete this,
okay.
okay,
So we just need his approval
yeah,
to effectuate this, all right.
yeah.
Any further discussion?
Well, who's following up with Michael?
I'll be happy to do that, follow up with Michael and Carl. Both of them are named on there, so.
Thank you.
All right,
And there are three signatures for the select board.
yeah, well, there should be
We can do
5.
5. Nice lines.
Do that, there you go. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that was approved unanimously pending approval by the road foreman. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next item. Financial director check-in.
Okay.
You have a,
We have-
an interview.
We have an
interview
we have an
tomorrow.
interview scheduled tomorrow with a very good candidate, good on paper. We'll see.
We're hopeful.
We're very hopeful.
Now that Cynthia's given us the green light.
Yeah, wow, that was
Yeah,
something.
I will say, Cynthia has also looked at this person's resume and likes it, so, for whatever that's worth.
Great.
And we did have a couple more applicants come in, I think I forwarded them all to you. I guess my question would be, of all of the ones who came in, is there anyone else that you would like us to interview?
The only one that got my attention, Mike,
What happened to the first page?
the guy in Lebanon, New Hampshire, looked like an interesting candidate. It's pretty far away, and he's probably qualified for the job.
Oh,
That was the other one that got my attention.
I remember that one.
yeah, I remember that one too.
I guess it got my attention also, if I remember it.
That would, yeah, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the others were not exciting to me. There was somebody in Boston, but they're in Boston, and I don't know.
Yeah, there was one in Rutland that looked potential,
Maybe, that's a maybe, yeah.
but it came through on Indeed, and he was in Rutland, and it said, I'm willing to relocate to Rutland.
Yeah. don't need your problem with the budget.
There was one applicant I thought there was one applicant, and I don't remember the location, but someone who was willing to relocate from out of state.
Michigan.
From out of state, who had the qualifications. My concern was the background, and the culture of, there's two things. One would be someone coming from out of state trying to move in here, trying to find housing. Let's talk about that. So that's number one. And then the second being, well, I'll just name it. This is someone who had a strong military background. And I just don't know, as funky as we are, as kind of quirky as we are as a town, whether that would jive with the personality of Plainfield.
Yeah.
That's just honest, what struck me. I just wasn't sure it was a match, but I did think that he had the right skill set, qualifications. He was the only other candidate that I would consider interviewing.
So I will say, for the record, that we have the best constable ever who has a military background.
I get it.
Yeah.
And is doing a really good job.
I get it,
for
I
us.
get it.
So I think it's an interesting point.
It's my bias, but
Yeah.
it's not, and maybe it's not my bias, my son-in-law is in the military, so I'm not, but it was just like, it could be that, and maybe it's not, maybe he's just not the way one would imagine, but.
I would propose is do the interview tomorrow, see what happens, and then I would certainly empower the two of you to decide if there are additional candidates on this list you want to proceed, if it doesn't work tomorrow.
It could be that we do a remote interview with this person,
Yeah.
or any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Let's
so I mean,
see.
I'm happy to let you two make
Yeah.
that move based on what you learn tomorrow.
Okay. That sounds fine to me. And hopefully tomorrow goes well.
Yeah, the one you were talking about, it wasn't so much the military stuff, but there was no, while he had financial stuff, treasury and tax accountant, oversaw operations of a village, and to the village council. It was the village of Sand Lake. I don't know,
I thought, let me see.
possible.
Let me see.
Let me just interject very quickly, that one thing that happened today that you might want to work with is that, and Jamie knows this, is that Alyssa and I cleaned out the second floor office that is now available.
Thank you, Michael. Yay.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah,
And I also want to thank all of you for using the mic tonight, it's really helpful for me. Thank you.
great.
Well,
Thank you.
And you have two mics, so you can choose from either. That's true.
Yeah,
We finally figured out how to make this thing work. It took us 3 meetings.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
got here a few hours ago, it was a
I don't
crisis.
think that's sorry, but thank you.
Bye, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
And-
yeah, thank you, Michael.
And thank you for cleaning out the office. We had talked to Jamie and Carol a couple of weeks ago saying, we're recruiting, we need a space. I mean, at least get a space where we can put in, a chair, a desk, a lamp, a phone,
Yeah.
a working computer, and then they can personalize it, and maybe they'll move to a different space
Yeah.
as the talks go forward, but we have to have some place for
Well,
them
now
to
you can
start.
and it's got an empty file cabinet in it.
Yay.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, cool. Okay, I think we have our marching orders.
Thank you both for doing that.
Sure.
Military.
Oh, sorry.
So let me ask this. So, let's say, Karen and I really like this person and they look like they would like to be with us. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to authorize us
Yeah,
to
should
do
we
that?
make a motion?
I think we need to
Tammy-
come back and make a recommendation to the board.
To select board, yes.
Point taken, all right.
We're gonna come back and make a
No, I think the whole
recommendation.
board has to do
Yeah,
that.
we'll come back to the board and make a recommendation. We're gonna just do this step by step.
Yeah.
Let's just do it right. Don't want people upset with us.
Yeah, I would also
Do
point
it.
out, excuse me, I would also point out that we need to go back to Sarah Buxton at Tarrant and Gillies to craft us the employment agreement.
Contract,
Right.
yeah.
Because they have a model that we use for Jamie, and so we want to be consistent with that. And that's important because they are, while our personnel policy says employees at will, once they're in a position, it's permanent. So unless we say otherwise.
So, I would also say another step in the process before you bring it back to us is to check references.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So I assume you two are doing that, or do you need help with
We
that?
will do it,
Okay, thank you both.
yeah. Unless you want to.
I mean, I am not loving that, but if you need help, I will do that.
I think we'll be okay. Thank you. Yeah. I am not loving that, but I will. No, we'll do it.
Passive
We'll do it.
aggressive.
Thank you.
I'll own that one.
Okay. All right.
That's good. If, just a question, I don't have the mic. Is there a desire to, if we have a great interview, we check references and we want to make this recommendation, is there a desire on the board to schedule a special select board meeting to address this versus waiting till June 8th?
Ooh,
That's my question.
nice. Good question.
I think it's a good question, and I would also think it not inappropriate if the full board wanted to interview and meet, that is done in executive session and then brought out into the public. There may be some negotiations there, and contract negotiations are confidential as well, so, but we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
I imagine that Sarah Buxton is going to need a minute to create an employment agreement. So, the June 8th could be a reasonable timeline to offer Sarah Buxton for that work if she's able to do that by then. I don't know how much time she's going to need, but I know it's not instant. And so, we could schedule an executive session for the June 8th meeting to meet this prospective employee if they meet your muster.
I'm good with that. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna take Sarah too long. I think she probably also already has it drafted, a template for it anyway, because we were talking about both positions when we had Jamie's done, so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm flexible either way. If you want to call an extra meeting, I'm good with that. If you want to wait till June 8th, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And maybe just figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and at this point, I mean, with Cynthia saying she thinks we're ready, I think that's big. That's just huge.
That's just huge. That's so good.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else on that item, or can we move on?
Let's move on.
I will move to approve the draft minutes from May 11th, May 18th, and May 20th, 2026.
A lot of meetings in
It's a lot of meetings, yeah, that's why we're avoiding the extra meeting part.
Yeah.
Well, one of those was the 18th was the special meeting on the Brook Road, so that's, the others were.
I would second Andy's proposal.
All right, so Andy moves, and Francis seconds. Any further discussion? I would just say thank you for the notes on the Zoom problem that we had on the last one, so.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that passes unanimously, 5-0. And we have warrants. Accounts payable May 15th, payroll for May 15th and May 21st.
Motion to approve. Accounts payable and payroll, dates just mentioned.
Second.
Francis Rose and Patty. Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Announce date for next select board meeting. We have mentioned it a few times. Our regular one is June the 8th. And at the moment, and we do have some agenda items that we've pushed till then, and we will have to talk about a couple of these other things, like the subdivision, whether that fits in there or not, so. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn at 8:08.
Oh my God, 8:08. Wait,
It's still light for those of you who were
Second.
wondering.
I was gonna say, don't forget, we got a second. We got a second now.
I will second, we have to get a second.
All right, so Francis Rose moved and Andy seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
I need your signature.
Thank you. Yeah, don't forget to sign this document.
Which one? I
Thank you.
match it up to this one.